everybody, and welcome back to another weekly edition of Timeout Talks, which is brought to you by Chase and Throws Custom T-shirts and accessories, also sponsored by the Ice Shaker and by Make It Mac. Me and Ben just talking on the pre-show a couple seconds ago. So much on the agenda for tonight. I mean, we've got plenty of stuff within the NFL to recap. I mean, a bunch of new quarterbacks going in different directions. I mean, hey, this
Lewis,
guy to the left of me right
Lewis
here.
already wants to start with it.
Hey, we've got someone over here to the left of me with a new quarterback. Lewis is ready. He's been fired up in the group chats. And of course, we're going to get to UFC. So pretty heavy UFC, mostly heavy NFL show. And of course, we'll get to your comments. But Ben, we're off and rolling. NFL free agency is here, and my Dallas Cowboys haven't done much.
He's going to slip that in there right now. That was one of my. So I was telling Josh too. Yeah, we'll get to that one, Lewis. We'll do him a little favor. We'll get to Dangerous in a little. It's a big one, but I was just thinking. I mean, sort of with these new moves from the Commanders, Josh. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of putting the Commanders ahead of the Cowboys right now. That was going to be my hot take right now. If we're gun to the head, everything. I think the Commanders. I mean, they got a better team on the on paper right now. I mean, I love the Austin Eckler move for the Commanders. Kind of confused on why he went there, Josh. I know they got Brian Robinson, only paying him about like 11 million, so kind of confused on that one. I thought he could get a lot more from someone else, but I mean, again, Dante Fowler, Dan Quinn's bringing over a couple of these Cowboys, ex-Cowboys over there. Jeremy Chin from the Panthers. That's a solid safety over there. They beefed up the linebackers, I just point out. I mean, they've got the D line and Allen and Payne. I mean, they've had that for a while. They just needed the rest of the defense. Dan Quinn, obviously, didn't look too good in the playoffs. Not gonna lie, but I mean, he's just a great defensive mind. So I like what he's already doing over there. I mean, this team they loaded at wide receiver, and they got the number 2 pick. So I mean, if you want to go get, I mean, somehow, I know he's had his haters, Josh, and everything, but I mean, if you go get Marvin Harrison, Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, that's not a bad trio. And obviously, as the aforementioned Eckler and Brian Robinson, that's a pretty good offense for Sam Howell to operate with a buffed up defense for the Commanders. As you mentioned, just I'd be a little scared for the Cowboys. I'm a little fed up losing Pollard and Tyler Biadasz going to the Commanders as well. They're just beefing up that line. The Cowboys have lost alignment in 3 straight off seasons. Josh lost starting offensive linemen each of the past 3 seasons. Clean that up, Ben. But overall, that's not good, Josh. That is not good for that offensive line. And losing Pollard, obviously, to the Titans isn't going to help. Kind of running back's a little question right now, but for the Cowboys, I was praising them all season, Josh. You know that I was backing them. I thought they were going to have a deeper run, but now I'm a little worried. I'm not hitting that panic button, but I'm a little worried. Shout out to the Commanders and Zach Ertz too. I mean, the Commanders really they kind of just went off right now. They kind of just trying to fill every need, and they still have that number 2 pick. So Cowboys need to do something.
100%. And the biggest issue with us is that we don't have that money. Right around me and James were looking at the numbers today. I mean, they're borderline negative in cap, and this is, and again, I don't want to turn it into the Cowboys show and everything, but this is what happens when you pay your quarterback a bunch of money. I mean, all these guys that we drafted, the Trayvon Diggs, the CeeDee Lamb's coming up. We signed, what was it? Zach Martin last year got a new extension. DeMarcus Lawrence, 4 or 5 years back, and then we re-upped on him. That Trayvon Diggs one takes up so much cap. You look at, I mean, Dak himself could be, he wants $60 million. So to Ben's point here, Micah Parsons is coming up. I mean, it's just so many guys, and you mentioned the Commanders taking a lot of guys. Dan Quinn taking in a bunch of his guys, especially Dante Fowler. I mean, just so many moves happening in the NFC East that we're going to get to, and across the whole National Football League. But right now, my biggest concern is the cap. We don't have much money. There's not much we can do. And I think what they really, best case scenario, Ben, I don't think we make any splashes in free agency. Maybe we bring back Stephon Gilmore if we can afford him. I'd love that. Bring back that trio, Diggs, Bland, Gilmore. But you got to hope that we hit it in the draft and some of these young players can stand out. But I will say one thing: I'm a little worried about the Commanders, but at the same time, they don't have a quarterback yet, pending Drake May, Daniels, whoever they go for, Jaden Daniels, or Drake May. Pick your poison. Nice little decent team over there for him. I know they have Howell and Mariota, but we'll see. James seems to lean that
100%.
they'll go Jaden Daniels. I still think Dallas will be better, but I gotta agree with you, Ben. I mean, there is one team that got really good, and it is the Philadelphia Eagles. Which, in a second, we will break down all the stuff, but just so much thrown at us. A couple of the comments here that Ben was getting to. We got Benny feeling dangerous. He's excited for that with Russell Wilson. And Lewis, this is another point we're going to talk about. Patriots have money and still have done nothing. Lewis says only like the offensive lining signing and Michael Owenu, which we will talk about a little bit later, and Uche. Defense is garbage for the Eagles, as Lewis says. But let's start it off with this. I mean, we have to. I got to give Ben his moment. We talked about the Cowboys. We'll get to them a little later. I'm not running away from it. We will talk about them. But let's talk about a new face in town for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that is Russell Wilson. Ben, how are you feeling about this move? 1-year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers worth $1 million, I'm pretty sure. I mean, Ben, your thoughts?
Yeah, initially it was pretty strange. Listen, as Lewis just pointed out in the group chat, he's very corny. I don't know if the locker room's really going to like him. This locker room is a little divish. We got a couple divas in there, so I don't know if Russell Wilson's pep talks are going to go over too well. Hopefully, he just comes over here and does what he did in that second half of that Broncos season, last season. People forget, I mean, the Broncos were in that playoff hunt. They were in better position than us. Obviously collapsed. Listen, that Broncos team wasn't really meant to sustain, and they just had such a rough beginning. They weren't going to last, especially with us coming up and a couple teams like the Colts and Texans surging at the time. But the more I sat on this, Josh, the more I got a little excited. I see Cheese comment fourth. Steelers still fourth in the division. And I don't know about that. I think we're honestly with some of these other moves, we get to the Patrick Queen move too. That's the biggest one for me, Josh. I think that might be the biggest one. That was the best news I've heard in a while for Steelers free agency, especially taking it from the Ravens. Shout out to the Ravens for that one, but. We'll get to that Texans one too. Hold on to that Texans thought for the biggest winners in free agency.
We got plenty. We've got plenty. We will get there. We will get there.
We'll get there. But I think this is just a no-brainer, Josh. I mean, the Broncos are basically paying him to play for us. We get to play him too. It's going to be crazy. It might be the first time ever. Opposing team is paying the other team's quarterback for the season. That's kind of an interesting one. Hopefully, we win that one too. But I think it's just really is a no-brainer. Unless there's really the only downside to this, Josh, is that this kills Kenny's confidence. But if it does, hey, sorry, you're not an NFL quarterback. I'm not almost over this Kenny Pickett experiment. I was never the one who wanted to use that first round pick. We need to get an O lineman. Hopefully, if he fell that far, maybe we can get him in the second, trade up, but get an O line to sustain him or just get some other weapons to help him out. So, that's the problem, and that's another problem, Lewis. I don't think it's going to be that, but the 17 takes, let's ride Steelers, let's ride. Hopefully, he learned his lesson from the Broncos experience, Josh. It's because he's got to chill out. He's just got to be a game manager. Obviously, a much better game manager. I'm throwing a little shade on that. He's a future Hall of Famer. I think he's can be a better game manager than Kenny or Mason. So. I like to move 1-year deal. That's perfect. Let's see if he can really bring it. This is going to be true competition. It's not just his job. So I'm interested to see how Kenny does. And this is really just for Kenny, Josh. This is, I think, a make it or break it for him. Is this going to really just hurt his career, or is he just going to get motivated from this and come out stronger? Maybe even beat out Russell Wilson. Because, I mean, if he beats out Russell Wilson, it might as well. I don't think we wouldn't mind. We're only paying him like $3 million or something. I wouldn't mind him just sitting behind him, having a nice little backup. I mean, Kenny's been a little injury prone, so it's a nice little backup, and having Mason there doesn't hurt either. So I think this is really no brainer for us. No risk involved. And shout out to the Broncos, Josh. Thanks for paying this guy. $38 million. He's now he's on our team. I'll take it.
I mean, the Steelers took a nice little page out of the Patriots wrinkle with That's one thing that Bill Belichick loved to do. These coaches would get paid all this money. The Matt Patricias, the Josh McDaniels, the Bill O'Briens, they've got all this guaranteed money in contracts, and then they get fired. And they're guaranteed all this money. Bill Belichick calls them over. They coach for him for free on the dollar, and it's on another team's tab. That's pretty much what you're doing, and you nailed it perfectly. As James mentioned, as a lot of people have mentioned too, talking to him about this, I actually really like this for the Steelers. I think, as you mentioned, they've realized Kenny Pickett's not their guy. Maybe they do a quarterback battle. I'm not saying that Russell Wilson is going to transcend the Pittsburgh Steelers to Chiefs levels or to AFC championships at all. But I think this is a proven veteran quarterback who has been to the Super Bowl many times. He's won a bunch of playoff games, and he's in a system where it's not a rebuild like the Denver Broncos, where it's being thrown into the fold with that. I like this situation for him, Ben. Very high reward, low risk here for you guys. He could maybe you're talking about a playoff performance or a playoff appearance for the Steelers. Maybe you get a wild card. Hey, heck, maybe you even win the division with, I don't know. Injuries can happen. You never know. You still have a lot of your core. You just went out and got Patrick Queen, as you mentioned. What was that? 3-year deal, $41 million deal. I like what the Steelers have done. They still have a lot of their core. Got to maybe he's the guy who can kind of get these wide receivers going. I like it. They have a defense to lean on. Healthy TJ Watt to start the next season. And they had to do something, Ben. You had to make some moves. You went out. You got Patrick Queen as well. Sideline to sideline linebacker. I mean, pair him up with Highsmith. And they are going to cause fits. I know Lewis is kind of... I see where Lewis is coming from with this. I'm not all in on it. I don't think he's going to, transcend this organization. But again, my main point here, high risk, high reward, low risk. Low risk, high reward. However you want to word it. You've given him $1 million on the Broncos tab. Why the hell not?
Hey, we got the breaking news right there, too. I was alerted to Deontay Johnson is gone. Deontay Johnson has been traded. Is on the Panthers now. You're welcome, Ray. You are welcome. I'd like to see what we got right there. I'd like to see what we got for Deontay.
That is
okay. One less weapon for
news.
us. Yeah, there you go. You're welcome, Ray. Thought the Panthers were more of a fire sale, so kind of an interesting move right here. But clearly, like I said, like I mentioned before, we got a couple divas, so one's already out. Let's see. Hey, it's a George Pickens show now. Let's just give it to him. It's full reins for him to do his thing, but a little surprised. I want to see the compensation eventually. Hopefully we got something, Josh. Hopefully we got because I like some decent picks.
So it's a pick swap. This is from Tom Pelissero. Steelers are sending wide receiver Deontay Johnson to the Panthers for cornerback Dante Jackson and a pick swap. So you get a little bit of secondary beef there too, Ben.
Take a pick swap too. I mean, as you obviously mentioned, the Dante Jackson, that's great. I like a little depth over there as well with Joey Porter and Levi Wallace already anchoring those positions. Always nice to have a bunch of cornerbacks. That's how we like to play it over with our Steelers. Just like to have a lot of cornerbacks over there. Tend to get a little injured on our team. I don't know why, but I like the pick swap too. I mean, the Panthers got obviously a higher pick than us. So I mean, it works out for everybody. Panthers get another weapon for Bryce Young, excuse me. Little fumble right there. Little fumble right there. I was about to say, I'm all over the place now. That kind of shocked me, Josh. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of I'm a little bummed by that. I don't know how to process that. I mean, listen, I know I was just yelling at them for being a divas, but I mean now. One less weapon, that's not too good for Dangerous. I don't know. This is kind of looking like a little more like a Broncos wide receiving core now. Hopefully, we address that in the draft. But I mean, hey, yeah, like I said, I want to fix that one. But another weapon for Young over there. I mean, he needs all the help he can get in Carolina. So, nice little wide receiver core building over there. Hopefully, Deontay can prosper over there. I had nothing against Deontay. Deontay was great for us, but. Yeah, a little sad that we got one less weapon for him, but like I said, hopefully we address this through a draft.
Percent. Just catching up with some of the comments here. Lewis 17 takes. Steelers, let's ride. I mean, that's that whole thing. We got Danny Ballgame running away from the real questions. Danny, shoot some questions. Let's get you in here. We've got some new people. We've got plenty of people on Twitter. Want to welcome in a bunch of the people on Twitter, our Twitter audiences. Shoot out some comments. We'll get to you. We've got Charlie O'Donnell, Ravens. This is, I'm assuming that he has this order. Ravens first, Bengals second, Browns third, Steelers fourth. Talk about those Browns. And again, we've got so much NFL free agency stuff to talk about. Marianne coming in here. Hopefully Pickett will learn. Hey, maybe he does come in. Maybe get like a kind of like a Jordan Love situation. Obviously it's a little different, but maybe he can mentor behind Russell Wilson. But let's move forward. We've got plenty to get to. And let's start with another team who addressed their quarterback needs. They went out, they re-signed Mike Evans last week. And guess what? They re-signed who they believe to be their franchise quarterback. 3-year deal worth $100 million back to the Tampa Bay Bucks. Ben, I think this was kind of a no-brainer for the Bucks. They felt this way for a while now. They wanted to keep their core, him and Mike Evans. They won a playoff game last year. I wasn't thrilled with the Mike Evans signing, but hey, I'm not on that staff of the Tampa Bay Bucks. Guess what? They also went further than my Dallas Cowboys, so I can't really be saying much. But another team, they addressed some needs in free agency. Re-signing Levante David, bringing back Antoine Winfield, getting their kicker back. They plugged up some holes there. Some guys walked as well. Shaq Barrett, we'll talk about him a little bit later, but kind of a no-brainer deal for me there, Ben. I think he has to go back. They view him as kind of a bridge guy, but $100 million is a shit ton of money.
Oh yeah, I agree with you on that one. Lewis's point there too. It's a little math mile. This I don't know what they're doing with that. The 100 million, that's a little much for him. Kind of crazy numbers to see again thrown out there, but like you said, it's kind of just a no-brainer for in the NFL right now. It's just quarterbacks league. You need a quarterback to do anything. As you pointed out, they went pretty far with Baker and Evans with this tandem. They still got Godwin. They still got a great offense over there. White. So why not run back with them, especially what you're seeing with the Falcons doing, the Panthers trying to rebuild, Saints, they're in the hunt for Chase Young. That'd be an interesting pairing over there. I know they visited with the Panthers and the Saints, so that'd be an interesting pairing. So you're just trying to stay up to date, with some of these other teams. And I think, you kind of just said the key word, Josh. It's just, this is a no-brainer. You got to bring these guys back. You got to run it back. Easy, not an easy division, but I mean, it's a very winnable division. Still, everyone's up for grab. Might as well run it back. I think, the fan base likes them, but as you and Lewis point out, this is kind of just crazy paying the guy who wasn't even he was a backup a couple of years ago, 100 million, kind of crazy transition for him. But you just got to do it.
Zach, Dylan doesn't like it. Jeff Warren, thanks for help breaking that news. And we got Zach. I've been asking for Chase to come to the Musty City. I mean, hey, pair him up, like you said, pair him up with Jordan over there. Can maybe make some things shake. But let's talk about another team. I know you were given a lot of credit here to the Commanders. And again, we'll look at some more of their deals a little bit later. We'll try to get to as many of these signings as we can. Of course, we only have an hour, and there's so many signings still continuing to happen. But of course, we'll get you to what we can. But let's start with this one, which I thought was a huge signing. I thought it was a pipe dream for the Philadelphia Eagles. That's Saquon Barkley signing a 3-year deal worth $37 million. And guess what, Ben? They also signed Bryce Huff to another 3-year deal worth $51 million to the Philadelphia Eagles. Guess what? They lose Fletcher Cox. Brandon Graham they were able to re-sign, aging, but they still find a way to beef up that offense and that defense. Now you have a 3-headed monster in Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, and even throw A.J. Brown in there. I don't care who you want to throw it to. And I'm just going to wrap it up with this before I turn it over to you. This is what championship teams do. I like what the Philadelphia Eagles team has done. A couple years ago, they didn't finish too well. They cashed in on some draft picks, cashed in on the draft capital, traded very low for an A.J. Brown. That's paid off for them. I know he's kind of a mental case, but again, Super Bowl appearance, maybe not too far off in a very staggered NFC. I like these moves a lot for the Philadelphia Eagles, Ben. This is a team that was getting a lot of criticism for the playoffs, and they're addressing their needs.
Yeah, Zach, a little just get to Zach's point first too before that one. I don't know about Chase coming over there, Zach. Zach might be getting a little too crazy with that one, but you never know. Hey, Jamar Chase coming down to the Musty City. You never know about that. But this Saquon movie, yeah, just crazy. I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting to go to the Eagles. As we pointed out last week, I mean, hey, maybe even the Cowboys. I thought the Cowboys were in the running. Maybe come over there. It's one of the top rivals, but hey, it goes to another rivalry. And I think this offense is just how do you stop it now? I don't know how you stop it. I mean, yeah, you got Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. You know, it's just kind of just a crazy backfield. Just I don't know. And they got Devontae Parker too. I know the Pats fans are missing him, but I mean, just a third string guy over there. Obviously, Smith as your two. They're just providing depth for everybody over there. Uh, I mean, I don't know how you're going to be able to stop this run attack if you shut down Barkley, you got Hurts, just come scrambling out there and vice versa. So I mean, uh, for the Eagles, who everyone was down on them a lot this year, Josh, as you just sort of said right there. When they get doubted, when they get their backs against the walls, they make these moves and they make the necessary moves to get back to title contention. And I think they're the favorites now win that division, obviously. Pretty clear favorites. I know the defense is slacking a little. Defense is taking a couple hits, but I think that offense is just going to be too good. I don't know who's going to be able to stop that offense. Fantasy, I don't know, fantasy wise, that's going to be interesting to see. Does Saquon take away from Hurts or does he enhance him? Vice versa. Again, let's see what that. But and I think that's the best offense in the league right now on paper. No shame. Shout out to the Eagles fans. They're always trying. Howard Roseman, one of the best GMs out there, always making these moves and everything. So I don't like to see it. I mean, I don't not like to see it, but still crosstown rival, Steelers, Eagles. I still don't like to see them get too much up on us. But yeah, I think they're the favorites now. I mean, I think the 49ers getting Leonard Floyd too, snacking up that defense. I think the Eagles and Niners are just kind of head and tails above some of these other teams. And don't sleep on the Packers either. Packers making some of these crazy moves. Well, obviously get to some of this, but I think just ultimately the Saquon move proves, Eagles Niners might be ahead of the pack right now.
I mean, that's speaking of Eagles just signed Gardner Johnson 3-year deal worth $33 million. This is right now, just happening. And we forgot to mention they re-signed. They brought back one of their best players. I mean, one of their underrated guys, Landon Dickerson. What is that? I almost said, I think that's a 4-year. It was a massive deal. I have it right here. It was a 4-year, $84 million extension that has a max value of $87 million, includes $50 million guaranteed. It's entering the final year of his rookie contract. Makes a ton of sense. Quickly, before we get on to the next part, another quarterback to fall in the dominoes. But before we get to that, the trade terms here. Panthers receive Deontay Johnson and a 7th-round pick, and the Steelers receive Dante Jackson and a 6th-round pick. Little tongue twister there, but so that's the little swap there for Ben. But
Load moving 6.
Hey, I mean, you had to get. He was maybe trouble in the locker room. Maybe we could spin it that way. But let's go to this one. Huge news out of the NFC. Ben, I did not see this happening. Actually, I lied. I did see this happening because I called it on this show. I said one of the teams to watch out for is Kirk Cousins going to the Atlanta Falcons. It happened. 4-year deal. I mean, this guy just rakes in the money. 4-year deal worth $180 million contract, includes $50 million signing bonus. Cousins also receives $100 million guaranteed, including $90 million in 2024 and 25 and another $10 million in 2026, I believe, going to his agent. Huge deal there, Ben. And I'm gonna throw another little piece here for you, Ben. Not just Kirk Cousins, they went out and got a weapon for him. Darnell Mooney signed to a 3-year deal worth $39 million with $26 million guaranteed. I'll go quick here and I'll turn it over to you, Ben. I like this deal for them. Go get another weapon for him. They've got a nice little core to build around Kirk Cousins. And guess what? We talked about this 2 or 3 weeks ago when we were previewing the money and the salary caps. This team has the money. They went out. They signed guys. I know that's a lot of money for a guy like Darnell Mooney. But let's see what happens. They're all in with Kirk Cousins, and they're going to have to deal with it. Or should I say, people like Zach are going to have to deal with it. had the sentence in my mind sounded a lot better. But good move there for the
Yeah,
Falcons.
that's a lot of money too, Josh. I mean, they're gonna have to deal with it, as you point out. This guy's raking it in. This guy really does. This guy's got a lot of money, Kirk Cousins. That's just massive deal with the Vikings. Now this one, he's just a couple franchise tags with the Commanders. So he's been cashing in the on that money department, Josh. So it's good to be Kirk Cousins, and I think good to be Atlanta. I'm a Falcons fan right now, and I gotta agree with she. Falcons taking the NFC South. Obviously, I think the clear front runners right now. And, Drake London and guys like Kyle Pitts are going, jumping up and down. They finally got a real quarterback. Let's see what happened with those two guys now. And as you brought up the Darnell Mooney signing, that's just great for depth. That nice little speedster for Kirk Cousins over there. And Bijan Robinson, just give Kirk Cousins another run game for him. Doesn't have to rely on the pass all that much. While he gets used to this new offense. Yeah, I'm fully on board with Cheese take right there. Falcons taking the NFC South. I think obviously clearly leaders right now with the Saints really not doing too much right now. I still got to see what they're doing. Panthers rebuilding. I think Falcons, Bucks, head to head right now. I think it's their divisions to battle it out for. But I'm really liking this Falcons move. I'm just liking to see what this offense could do with a real quarterback. And defense is always stingy. So let's see what they do with that high pick. Let's see if they add another weapon or just solidify that defense. But uh, Falcons fans, Josh, I'm pretty happy right now.
100%. I mean, it was kind of running stale in Minnesota. Had to make a
Yeah.
change, go to a younger team. I know anybody would be thrilled to throw the ball to Justin Jefferson, but guess what? He's got multiple weapons: Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, who's my personal fan favorite there, like fantasy guy, and of course Darnell Mooney joining that team. Let's get to another one, kind of under the radar guy. This is a team that had a lot of money, defensive line here. And that is Christian Wilkins signs a huge deal. I'm talking big money for a defensive lineman. 4-year deal worth $110 million with $84.75 million guaranteed. So the Las Vegas Raiders are throwing money at him. This is their guy, Ben. This is their anchor on defense. You pair him alongside Max Crosby. Now we're talking. This is a team quickly. They're not all in. They are ways away to go. They've still got Aiden O'Connell there. They just got rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. They've got Pierce and they have Devontae Adams, but they have people, but they're just ways away. And it all starts with a quarterback. This is their big piece. He went there to get paid, and that's pretty much how I view it. He went from Miami, who I think has had a sneaky draft. I know a lot of people are free agency. I know people are hating on Miami. They just signed Jordan Poyer. Throw that one in there, but Christian Wilkins, on the other hand, he was just going there to get paid.
Yeah, welcome in Rob too. I forgot to welcome in Rob. We'll talk about Sugar a little later. We're talking NFL right now. We'll get you back in there for the UFC. Jimmy's here too now. Jimmy's upset because the Patriots aren't doing anything. No, but I mean, just now he's upset. I want to hear what he's upset about right there, but. Who were we talking about, Josh, again? I forgot what we were talking about over here.
We were talking about Christian Wilkins.
Christian Wilkins, that's how irrelevant it is. That's how irrelevant this one is. Big move. Who cares? Who cares? Listen, the Raiders need this one. Yeah, I mean, that's how.
Money.
Just throw their money out there. You got to get after the quarterback in the West Division. I mean, this one is just going over my head. Christian Wilkins, like you said, nice pairing with Max Crosby, but Raiders, what are you going to do? You got Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew. What are we doing over here? They got the weapons too, as you mentioned, Devontae, but I just don't think they're going to be able to get past anybody in that division. Like I said, you got Herbert, you got Mahomes, you got to have to get after the quarterback. Nice move over here, as you sort of threw out there too with Ray and the money. He just needs the money right now. He just cashing in. He's one of the best at the position right now. Vegas is willing to pay him. They need to make a splash higher. Sorry, Vegas fans, but this is just one of those. We always have this one, Josh, in the free agency, the big money guy. I don't know. I can say he's going to fade away. His stats are still going to be there, but it's just getting a payday. Had his time in Miami, proved himself, and now he's going to kind of just go into the Raiders' way. So shout out to them. Like I said, it's always nice to see them keeping their fans happy. As we both mentioned, the pairing between him and Crosby, that's going to be elite. But there's just too many holes on that team. Too many holes that they got to fill. And I don't think they're going to be able to get to this offseason. So I'm excited to see that pairing, but not the team so much.
Oh, 100%, Ben. They're just throwing money. That's kind of how I view that. Let's move forward to another deal here, which I mean, this is a hometown one. I'm just clicking through here, taking a second. But this is the New England Patriots, a team that we thought was going to spend a lot more money earlier on. I saw James kind of complaining about it. We'll get to this one.
What you said.
3-year deal, one of their first splashes. Of course, they re-signed Uche. They re-signed a couple other guys that I can't think of. But they bring back Hunter Henry as well. They bring in Antonio Gibson, signs a 3-year deal worth $11.25 million with the New England Patriots. They also brought back Onwenu, however you pronounce his name. Very good anchor there for them. I like that. It's a good little signing there. Bringing in that offensive lineman. I know Lewis was talking about it earlier. And this is a quick little point I kind of wanted to get to here. I think the New England Patriots are walking a weird fine line here, Ben. I think you look at years prior where they went crazy in free agency. They went out and they got Hunter Henry, Matthew Judon. They went crazy. Who else did they get? They got, I'm blanking, the wide receiver who absolutely did nothing for them.
Aguilar? Was it Aguilar?
Aguilar. They went crazy on him. There was just a year where they went insane with all these picks. They got, the Jalen Mills, all those guys. But I think they realized we're not overpaying for all these guys. We still have a lot of money. Some of that money will roll over to next year. Calvin Ridley, that's been the huge thing. Like, what is Calvin Ridley going to go there? Is he going to stay in Jacksonville? Talking with James today, clarified me on that one. If Calvin Ridley was to sign to another team, the Jacksonville Jaguars would have to give a second-round pick to the Atlanta Falcons. If they wait another day, I believe it's till tomorrow. I'm not sure on that day, but if they wait a little bit, which is what they've been doing, and they kind of sign a hush-hush deal, they only have to send a third-round pick to the Atlanta Falcons. So I think there's kind of been a hush-hush deal. He signed with the Jaguars, and that's kind of what's going on there. But other than that, if I'm a Patriots fan, I'm a little frustrated, but it's all in the draft. It's with that number 3 pick that you guys have been waiting for. And hey, there's still some great guys out there to be signed. I know a lot of teams made some big moves, but Patriots fans, hold your heads up high. You'll sign some guys. I mean, unlike us, we have absolutely no money. We can't do anything. Just have to hope that the core can stay healthy and something happens. But Patriots, I like the Antonio Gibson one. I know people like Jared are giving it trouble. I have no problem with it.
I can see why people like Jared are giving it trouble on that one, Josh. I mean, it's an easy one to make fun of, but yeah, ultimately it's a good move. I like, having a little pressure behind Stevenson alleviates some of that, so he doesn't get worn down. He's a nice little pass catching back too, but as Jimmy keeps putting their help, yeah, they need some splash ones. I mean, we've seen this, and as you mentioned right before too, sort of that splash summer they had a couple years ago. Just none of those guys really panned out. They need to do something. It's kind of looking like they're doing the same thing right now. They're just signing these average guys. Uh, they got one of my Steelers guys too. They got Okafor over there. They signed a lineman from him. It seems like it's just sort of depth fillings, Josh. They're kind of just making these we're making these signings just to fill some depth, fill some positions, and just sort of move on. So I'm kind of confused with some of those ones, and just kind of more intrigued now with that third pick. As Jeff mentioned, trading down to, and Jeff, I saw that comment too. I know that'd be. I would love if they traded down. I would love that. It would bring me so much joy. I saw that comment too, Jeff, from about Justin Herbert. He's soft too, but he's still talented. Still gotta give proper respect over there. And she too. Good to see Brissett back. So yeah, listen, it's the Brissett and the Antonio Gibson are pretty much the only good news for the Patriots fans right now. I think good to see him back. The Brissett move kind of makes you wonder, hey, are they going to take Harrison there at 3? You never know. I don't know, but as you sort of mentioned right there, if they traded down Josh, that would be pretty good. But yeah, we can look at some of these. We got the power rankings from Jimmy. I guess the way too early power rankings. Eagles, Packers, Chiefs, and Texans top 4. So yeah, I think I agree with that so far. Packers definitely resurgence. I mean, Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinley over there. Xavier McKinley, I think, is huge for that defense. It's already loaded, built through the draft. Packers just looking serious over that. It's going to be, I think, Josh, the AFC North was the best division this past year. I think it's going to be the NFC North next season. I think NFC North is going to be the best division in football next year. I'll take real early, real early.
Speaking of that, this has been kind of the talk of the town. The cream of the crop, as everybody wants to say. The Green Bay Packers, who eliminated my Cowboys, get all your laughs out, signing Josh Jacobs with a little swap here, getting rid of Aaron Jones, who slides on over to the Minnesota Vikings, who also had a couple decent signings, but 4-year deal worth $48 million to the Green Bay Packers. Josh Jacobs, they linked him down, they got him signed. They figured, hey, we want a better bruiser. And guess what? They went out and also got another stud safety. Xavier McKinney signs a 4-year deal worth $68 million. I love these. Love these deals for the Packers. I'm not ready to go crazy and say that the Green Bay Packers are the best team in the NFC and yada, yada, yada. Right now, I mean, they're looking better than my Cowboys. But aside from that, I think the Eagles have had a very good free agency. I think the 49ers are still there. We talked about Leonard Floyd. I had a graphic for him. Just hadn't got to it yet. But I like what the Packers are doing. They've won a playoff game. They played very, very tough in the playoffs. And there's just too many top dogs in that NFC. And I think you make a good point, though, Ben. And I think everybody else does, too. I like what they've done. And I think that they can maybe not win one playoff game this year. Maybe win two. Maybe go to the NFC Championship. I don't know. Nice little fun young team, and they're making the right decisions here, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, they got some stud linebackers from Georgia. I mean, they got just basically a whole slew of Georgia linebackers. McKinney, Alexander. I mean, that defense is legit. They went toe to toe with the Niners. Obviously, a couple blunders, a couple tough third downs too from Jordan Love. Obviously he's going to grow. It's his first playoffs, first season starting, so we got to give him a little slack. And he took, sort of the NFC champs all the way. We gave them a run for their money, and it looks like they were going to lose for a little while. So, Packers, I think, upgrading. I love these moves too. Just echoing your words on that one. Just love these moves. Upgrading that running back position. No offense, Aaron Jones, but part of the old regime, Josh. He's getting a little worn down right now. You bring in a resurgence in Josh Jacobs, who wanted to get out of that Las Vegas situation. Been over there for so many years now, part of a winning culture. Now he gets over here in Lambeau. I think he's going to be great. A little blanket for him. They still got Dylan. And they can just hit the draft now, too. Defense is fine. As I mentioned, the defense they've been drafting since they had Rodgers. Rodgers was complaining for wideouts. They just kept drafting defense. Maybe this is why. Maybe they're just trying to build out a real team. Rodgers wasn't realizing that. But I think Packers fans, too, along with that Falcons fans, just they got to be ecstatic, Josh. They got to be ecstatic, making great moves. Yeah, I hate to agree with that top four, but I think that's just the top four you got to give right now. And he threw the Niners in there too. I guess I don't know. Right now, I'd probably put the Packers ahead of the Niners. I think I like these moves right now, even with the Leonard Floyd one. I don't know. I think the Niners going to have to go down eventually. I think the Packers just resurge as this nice new young team. I'm backing these moves, Josh. And we still got the draft for them, so they still can fill out some of these other positional needs.
100%. James coming in here. Think he's talking about Justin Simmons. If he is, that is a sigh of relief. I did not want to see him go to the Eagles. But James saying Simmons going to Tennessee. Breaking news, Burks blockbuster. We'll wait to see more information on that. But I know you touched upon this a little bit earlier. Titans making a couple splashes. They had a lot of money. They went out, they snagged a former Cowboy and a former Cincinnati Bengal, Chidobe Awuzie, signing a 3-year deal worth $36 million with $23 million guaranteed to the Tennessee Titans. And that's not over yet. They also signed the former Cowboy running back, Tony Pollard, to a 3-year deal worth $24 million. Quickly, Ben, I just got to say, I don't think that the Dallas Cowboys had that money for Tony Pollard. Again, I've got people texting me, what is Jerry Jones doing? And what are the Cowboys? They have no money. This is what happens when you spend. They're so top-heavy. You give all these people this money. This will never happen, but this is why I want Dak Prescott to take a little bit less, do the Tom Brady thing. He's never going to do that. Never going to do that. But hey, that's what I would do. You want to win a championship? You want to bring in some guys? That's what I would do if I was Dak Prescott. On the other hand, Tennessee Titans making a couple moves. I still don't take them as legit contenders. Maybe in a couple years, maybe the second year, third year down the line, if Will Levis can develop, maybe Tony Pollard and Chidobe Awuzie will be happy with a playoff contending team. But right now, I view this just a team spending money, kind of similar to the Washington Commanders in a way where they have pieces. They've also traded away some pieces. I think the Commanders are a little higher up than the Titans, but again, both teams kind of looking for that future. Hopefully the Tennessee Titans think it is Will Levis, but Pollard, Chidobe, both enter Tennessee.
Hey, wise words from Zach. Two great players to win you championships. There you go. Nice little reassurance from Zach over there.
Thanks, Zach. Thanks for letting me know that.
He's feeling good. Shout out to the Pelicans. Pelicans rolling right now. So Zach's feeling good over there in the Musty City. Yeah, thanks for the Burks blockbuster. I don't know. I thought he already told us about that Simmons one. I felt like I saw a text from him earlier.
He was convinced it was the Eagles. I want to say that.
Let's see. Okay.
Don't go over 2.
I saw that. He's going over 2. There we go. There we go. Jimmy's usually pretty good, but going over 2, not a good look. But thanks for that blockbuster, nevertheless. And going back to your point, Josh, yeah, with the Pollard, I think he proved this year he's not bell count back. He's not the star guy. So for the Cowboys, ultimately, yeah, it's going to stink losing him. He was a great part of that offense. But this year kind of proved it to you. He can't handle that full workload. So I think the Cowboys, just all these other guys leaving, you're going to fill these other needs. It's all right for him. Go get another running back in the later rounds, develop him. You'll be fine in that position. Titans, you sort of talked about right there too. I think they're just making some splash moves like the Commanders. I kind of more put them in the Raiders categories. I like the Commanders, Josh. I know you're kind of I know you might be poo-poo on them just because of rival, but I mean, I think the Commanders could be a legit team over there, could be playoff contenders, even make a little push. I mean, if they got a right quarterback in there, they've got the pieces around there. That defense is looking good. But I think ultimately at Titans, they're just trying to keep up with teams like Texans, the Colts securing, shout out Jeff Jose, for that one. The Pittman-Richardson combo, securing that one with the Pittman 3-year deal, giving Richardson his top guy for at least 3 years. You couldn't let him walk. You couldn't let Richardson have no weapons over there. I know Josh Downs. I kind of forgot about Josh Downs, but he's no number one, as Ray pointed out on that one. So gotta give Ray credit for that take. But it's true. Josh Downs isn't ready for that. He's number 2, number 3 after that. So give him your number 1. You're still in contention over there. That Colts defense is always good. These other 2 moves from the Titans, though, Josh, kind of intriguing. Oops, I don't want to butcher his name, but the Bengals guy, the Simmons one. For the defense, I thought they're going to be a little more sellers on that side. So I'm a little intrigued that they're going a little hard over there, keeping that defense solid. Vrabel's always going to, excuse me, I was going to say Vrabel's always going to keep them good, but Vrabel's not there anymore, so we got to watch out for that. Let's see how that defense can play after that. But I'm excited for the Tennessee's fans with this one. This is a good move. Just show you're still playing. Show you're still showing some life out there. Pollard, Will Levis, nice combo. But yeah, I think these are just money moves, Josh. Let's try to keep the fans happy. Tennessee has still got a long ways to go.
100%. Like I said, they just got to see if they can develop.
Good for Pollard too, Josh.
Oh, definitely.
Good for Pollard.
Good for him. Glad he got his money. As you mentioned, though, bell cow. I think this is Cowboys finally doing what everybody's been saying. Just draft a running back, and now I don't know. It's tough. You can't win as a Cowboys fan, or if you're in the Cowboys organization, they say don't overpay these guys, just re-sign. That's what they do. But aside from that, they haven't made many moves. But we're running short on time here. We want to get to some UFC stuff. So we'll kind of jumble in a couple factors here. I'll just rattle off some here for Ben, and whatever sticks to Ben, he will kind of recap here. But we're going to go fast here. We're going to get Gabe Davis. Huge deal for him. A lot of Buffalo Bills fans, not crazy for that. Gabe Davis signing a 3-year deal worth $50 million to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, they're waiting for Calvin Ridley to see what happens there. And as Ben has already pre-mentioned here, he's alluded to, he's been all over this. The Washington Commanders signing a bunch of guys here. Dorrance Armstrong, who was a Cowboys' second leading sack scorer for 2 seasons in a row. Great signing here. Pair him up with Dan Quinn again. 3-year deal with $45 million. And then they also went out and got another running back. They got rid of Gibson. They said, that's fine. We'll upgrade. We'll go get Austin Eckler, who is a fantasy manager who, always claims to get him in fantasy. Austin Eckler signing a 2-year deal worth $11 million with the Washington Commanders. We've talked about Antonio Gibson, Josh. Oh, another one here. Jordan Brooks, will go quick. This is a team, I really, really like this sideline-to-sideline linebacker, young, 26 years old. Jordan Brooks signing a 3-year deal worth $30 million with the Dolphins. They also went out and got Jordan Poyer today. 1-year deal. They made a couple nice little moves. I like those. If we're missing any guys, that's fine. Ben thinks of any. I have graphics for it. We'll get up to it. But, of course, want to leave a little bit of time here for the UFC. But just Ben, I'll leave it to you in a second. But a lot of good signings. I think Steelers, even the Patriots. I know there's a little bit of growing frustration there for the Patriots and the New England Patriots fan base. But hey, you've got your draft to kind of draft and assemble your team. This is a new regime. We'll see what happens. Maybe they're being a little conservative for a reason. Maybe they signed a couple guys in day 3 and day 4 of free agency. Only time will tell. Aside from that, my Dallas Cowboys, though, Ben, not much we can do. This is what happens when you dish out money. You got a lot of talent, a lot of hype around these guys, and they want to get paid. So as much as we can blame Jerry Jones, these guys got to get paid. They want their money. We still got huge contract extensions down the line. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons. I mean, those are anchors of your organization. We don't have much money right now. Hopefully we have some money next year, and it's been good. We will definitely be back to some more NFL free agency next week, but Ben, I threw a lot at you there.
That was perfect. I mean, it's just one perfectly described what that first day in the free agency was, Josh. Throwing a lot at you. It was just move after move. It was kind of crazy. Getting all those alerts, but at the end, I think were the perfect ones. I'm going to hang on. I mean, the Dolphins shoring up that defense, Poirier and Brooks. The defense had saw some cracks at the end. They kind of at the end of the season, kind of tired, kind of fatiguing. So it was good to see that defense getting bolstered up over there for Miami. Tough division with the Bills. Jets getting Kinlaw too. I think the Jets got Javon Kinlaw. Nice move over there, bolster up that line. Another one's just how far will that go for the Jets? But Miami makes some great moves. Stay up there with the unnecessary. Sorry, I had to take that shot at the Jets, but
It's fair.
Rodgers too. Who knows what Rodgers is doing? I don't know if he'll even be playing now. He's running for whatever now, but good for Rodgers, I guess. But yeah, it's just Miami bolstering up that defense is great. And Josh, I think ultimately I'm just smiling about Patrick Queen. Welcome to Pittsburgh. Let's go.
Like it. Well, we have so much more, guys, and don't be discouraged. We have so much more NFL free agency stuff to come down the pike. We've still got the Calvin Ridley stuff to discuss, a bunch of other free agents that we will recap next week. We'll turn that over into next week. And guess what? We're going to do our little predictions. We're going to do our mock drafts. All that stuff's coming up. We've also got March Madness right around the corner. I'd like to do a little competition for that, so stay tuned on that. But Ben, we had to give this card a little bit of time. I mean, just an amazing card. I mean, I was happy. I won over $600, so I'm happy with that. Sean O'Malley retains. We've got Dustin Poirier with a knockout. Michael Venom Page debuts, looks great. Toys with Kevin Holland. We've got Jack Della Maddalena, my guy, with a knockout. Peter Yan with the win over Song. I mean, plenty of dominoes to kind of fall here. James loves that saying. Plenty of dominoes to fall. He's got me saying that saying more now. Within the UFC, and obviously with the upcoming cards, we got to see what happens for 301, 302, and so on. But Ben, so much to kind of indulge here. I kind of wanted to turn to you because there was a bunch of shockers in this past card.
Yeah, shout out to Josh too for his winnings. You got to give the man the credit. He got those picks. He nailed them. That was on the wrong side. I picked I picked a lot of wrong guys. I got to pay my dues for the Saint Denis. Saint Denis just you won the first round, Josh. You won that first round, and you got to give credit to Poirier. I thought he was a little washed. I thought he wasn't the fighter he once was, and I don't think he's going to be fighting for titles anytime soon. But I think he's just the gatekeeper of that division. You got to get past him if you're a legit contender. Because if you can't get past him, you're not going to be a champ. You're not going to be anybody in that division because he just showed you. I mean, Saints and nobody wanted to fight him. He was a killer out there. Poirier stepped up to the challenge. He got beat up pretty good in that round one. It looked like he almost got knocked out a couple of times and close submissions from Saint Denis. But I mean, Poirier just stepped up, took his beating, and came back around two and showed you why he's a former champ. Interim champ. I don't want to slight him like that, but still, you got to put the title on there. But everyone knows him. He's one of the top dogs in that division for a while. He just proved it there. So I got to give him all the credit in the world. He's one of the best in that division. So, every time if a contender wants to get through there, you got to go through him. I think that's the only way you got to do it now. So, shout out to Poirier, not for making me lose. I was almost there. I just missed that one. But I really thought Saint Denis had it. But shout out to him. And I was wrong about the Johnson one too. I don't know what Johnson Almeida was doing out there, Josh. He was I kind of just throwing him around, wasn't really doing anything once he got him on the ground. Kind of his sort of weakness, kind of throws these guys around, doesn't have any strategy after. They just got pummeled after. But that one, I just want to say I'm wrong. He's not going to be the champ in the heavyweight division for anytime soon.
Like that, a lot of recap coming here from Ben. I mean, the Curtis Blades, that knockout was
crazy.
It's a good one. Good one. And just a couple things, too. I mean, a lot of people are just sour on Jack. I mean, I don't know why. A lot of Gilbert Burns fans in our group chat, I will say that. But big knockout. Hey, that's what happened. That's all it takes. Same as you mentioned with Poirier. Saint Denis kind of giving all he could give. Huge win for Poirier. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to move him to the title contention, but going into this fight, I'm thinking, he just got knocked out by Gaethje. Some of those days, as you mentioned, the interim title, the defenses and getting that and that win, the wins over Conor and everything, kind of we're feeling like, hey, maybe he's that like back in his heyday. I know he had that win over Chandler, which was great, but we kind of felt like he really needed this win, and he got it in dominating fashion, or a good fashion. I don't want to say dominating. A knockout sounds dominating to me, but aside from that, I'm very interested in seeing what's up for Poirier. I know me and James were talking about this today. Justin Gaethje's kind of in the fold. Feels like what's going to happen with him. He was the one who knocked out. He went on a crazy tear, put on that, that crazy epic fight of the night. 2 or 3 cards, I think it was like a year or two ago, beats Poirier, puts his name on the map. I know he's in contention for 300. I forget who he's fighting, but I mean, he wins that one. It's at some point you got to think he's knocking on the door. And quickly here, I'll turn to Ben after, but O'Malley, Macy Barber too. You called that one. I'll give you that. You were very heavy on her, so I want to give you your due diligence there and your props on that one. But aside from that, 2 things here. Michael Venom Page, I don't care what the Jameses say. I don't care what anybody else says. Kevin Holland could not stand and bang and throw hands with Michael Venom Page. I know he has that silly, kind of, as me and a coworker were talking about, kind of kung fu style to Michael Venom Page, but he was toying with him. I mean, Kevin Holland, I know he's not much of a grappler, but he couldn't really have any takedowns. Michael Venom Page was checking those. I thought he looked wonderful, Ben. Of course, Kevin Holland, very respectable fighter, wasn't going to get knocked out. I didn't think he was. I predicted the decision. Also won on that and got it with Michael Venom Page. But just watching that fight, Ben, it looked to me like he was just having his way. I thought out of 3 of those rounds, I really thought Michael Venom Page arguably could have won 3 of them. I mean, I know Kevin Holland got him with, maybe I'll say 2. I'll be fair. Maybe 2 out of those 3. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was a unanimous decision, but yeah, I mean, talk about a good little debut there. I thought it was a perfect fight for him. Tough weight class there. Tough division for him. And of course, this guy is no joke. Supreme knockout power. I knew he was going to fit into the fold. And on the opposite side there, Sean O'Malley. He's had his critics. I know a lot of people, me and you, were kind of heavy on Sean O'Malley, I was saying he was going to knock out Cheeto. Cheeto's never been knocked out. I said Sean O'Malley was going to get his 13th knockout. Didn't end up happening, but coming out of that fight, man, oh man, did he pick his spots. Picked Cheeto, Marlon Vera apart, Ben. I didn't think Cheeto was ready for that moment at all. I was trying to tell people, totally different fight back in the pandemic when he won, or some people want to say knocked him out with the nerve thing in Sean O'Malley's leg. Sean O'Malley's a champion. I know we've got guys like Marab on the rise, a couple other guys knocking on that door. He's gonna give them all he can. And I'm not so quick to give up on Sean O'Malley. I know I'm feeling good. I'm feeling the buzzes of him winning, winning me some money. I'll never talk ill on him again. That guy won me a whole new gaming setup. But aside from that, good fight, great card, Ben. Just great card. I really enjoyed it. Maybe that's because I knew a lot of the names on the card. But aside from that, Sean O'Malley did what he had to do, Ben. I know people have their skepticism of him. I'm not one of those guys. I'm not saying he's going to hold the title forever. I don't want people walking around saying, oh, Josh said Sean O'Malley's going to be the champion forever now. He's all in. He bought in. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying this guy is legit. This is, back from those Peter Yan, when Peter Yan arguably should have won that fight. I was kind of like, it was his first ranked opponent. He barely beats him. I'm not sold yet. He gets his championship win. I still wasn't. I was like, something feels off. I'm sold. I know James isn't crazy about him. I'm sold. I think he sells money. I think he's a good name. He's got a nice little slogan there, welcome to the Sugar Show. And hey, he welcomed us to the Sugar Show, and we're here to stay for a little bit.
I love it, Josh. Perfectly said. I'm still a little less on it. I was a little more in the beginning of it, but now I'm still... Listen, this Cheeto fight was cool and everything, but I want to see him fight someone real. I want to see him fight a Marab or Corey Sandhagen. Corey Sandhagen's over there. I personally think those two would probably beat Sugar Sean. That's why I think he's calling out Taporia. I don't really want to see that one. I don't want to see him versus Taporia. They're just kind of newly crowned champions. The reason why Volk and Islam fought is because they were...
Sorry, there was a video of me. I was so happy. So happy. I'm sorry, Ben. I know you were reading that comment.
No. It was perfect. No, it was perfect. Yeah,
happy. I literally grabbed on to Kylie. Like, I was bear hugging him. I was like, let's go. I was probably the most hyped in Hooters, and Jerry's a big Poirier fan. But to Ben's point, as you were saying, Ben, sorry.
Yeah, no, it was perfect. I mean, that's what UFC is about, and that's what we're building up some of these fans for. Makes these fights a little crazier. And it was just awesome. Hey, awesome moment right there. Wish I could take it, but you gotta stick with your picks. You gotta stick with your heart. Thought Saint Denis was gonna win. Whoops on that one. But yeah, I mean, just wanted to quickly on that MVP one too, Ben and Page. Hey, that was just as Lewis pointed out. I guess I didn't really know it. He's been doing it for a while at Bellator. Other competitions now UFC's been building on for this moment. So it was 5 years older than Holland. He's been doing this for a little while, but that as him and Sam pointed out, there's a unique fighting style. Is just Colin couldn't figure it out, and I'm kind of intrigued to see how far he's going to be able to take that fighting style. But I'm hooked on MVP. I think he's got my attention now. I'm a fan of him. I like that style. I like him and Holland John back at each other. They were talking after. They're both showmen. That's what it's all about. They're just having out their fun. Holland sort of mocking him at the end with a little, just sort of running and back and forth, doing all those motions. But I want to get that one. It may seem harder to go, but ultimately on this one, yeah, sure, Sean did what he needed to do. I just don't want to see that Taporia fight, Josh. I don't want to see him versus Taporia. I need to see Sugar Sean against another guy. Let me see him against another top contender. Not somebody handpicked. Give me Marabs, Corey Sandhagen. Hey, after Pirion's performance, I wouldn't be mad at a rematch either. Pirion looked determined. He had a couple close losses. Could have gone either ways. Obviously, the Sugar Sean won a couple fights after that. So I think Pirion's determined to get back in that championship fight too. So what I learned from that one, I want Sugar Sean to stay in the division, Josh. Don't go anywhere for these crazy cross division fights yet. Too early.
Oh, 100%. I think, yeah. I think two new crown champions. I don't want to see it either. As you mentioned, a couple guys climbing up the ladders in each of them. I know the whole Volk and Islam, champion versus champion is a lot of fun. It's exciting, but I don't think I 100% agree with you, Ben. I think that's maybe like if the rank in the class is a little dry. I don't think either of those classes are dry. Perfectly said. And this is coming from a casual like me, somebody getting into it. I gotta always remind people. I don't want to come off too cocky, but as always, I'm gonna hand it over to Ben. Want to say just thank you to everybody who tuned in on Twitter. I mean, we've got 70 plus watching right now on Twitter at this very moment. So shout out to everybody on Twitter who hopped in here. A couple comments from you guys. Definitely want to encourage you guys to get in the chat a little bit more. As mentioned a little bit earlier, going to talk some wrinkles out, but want to get a March Madness little thing going on here. We'll give away a free ice shaker. That will be courtesy of winning the March Madness bracket like we always do. $20 entry fee. We'll figure something out. There'll be a post. We'll figure all those wrinkles out. But again, I want to turn it over to Ben. But before I do that, thank you to everybody. Dallas, do something. I mean, it's the restructure someone's contract, extend Dak. I don't care. Do something. Something needs to happen. Dustin Poirier, my guy, my favorite fighter, brought me into the UFC. I was worried, as Ben mentioned, I was worried it was going to be his last fight. He was maybe going to hang up the cleats, hang up the gloves. Doesn't end up doing that. Shout out to Sean O'Malley. Shout out to MVP. Shout out to Jack Della Maddalena. And shout out to Ben, as always, for holding it down.
Big shout out to Josh and everyone over the fans, as always, man. Great show. Everyone engaged. Shout out to Twitter. Everyone over there. Love the comments. Going on, hey, Scooby. Scooby got me a little thrown off too. Shout out to Scooby. I haven't seen him in a while. Yeah, it's not Monday, Scoop. It's Tuesday. I'm a little worried right now. So am I off too? But no, it's just a little confused, just like those Patriots moves. Hopefully they can figure it out. One last shot at the Patriots, but thank you to everyone as always. And I'll end with this. Welcome, Russell Wilson and Patrick Queen.